Hey everybody, welcome to video number 24 in the UE5 vehicle tutorial series. In the last video we used the color picker widget and made it work in the way of actually changing the paint color on your vehicles. And also whenever you change vehicle, the color picker will indicate the right color that's currently onto the car. Now I'd like to expand the little menu here and allow the player to change the color of multiple slots, if you will. I mentioned in a previous video, I think, possibly primary color, secondary, trim, and also wheels. I think I'll do secondary and wheels for now. Trim, I mean, you got the idea at that point. Once we've done 3 different slots, you can pretty much figure out anything else, even the window tint and whatnot. So let's go ahead and do that. Open up the UI, UMG main menu. Let us create another little panel here on the right hand side, which will be a vertical scroll box where we can host some options. Right now we only have colors, but eventually we will be able to swap out some meshes such as the wheels, bumpers, the wing, and whatever. So let's make a little panel here that's gonna have enough room to allow that. First of all, I would like to join all of that stuff here, possibly in a canvas panel. Oh, yeah, nope. Nope. It's gonna be a little harder than that, apparently. Okay, so that border. Okay, I think right now I'm just gonna move everything to the left considerably. I'll figure out how to wrap this up in panels and animate them later on. Okay, there should be plenty of room. Let me recreate this border. Actually, remove its children's. Okay, that looks about right. Now in the border, I am going to need, like I mentioned, a vertical box. And let's put our color wheel in there. Sweet. Let's have a look at that. Okay, let's actually close the gap here in between this so it looks better. Okay, that is great. Now let's add a few buttons, possibly just 3 buttons. And then we can start programming the other DMI or dynamic material instance. Now for the buttons, I would like to create yet another custom button widget. Let me UMG brand button. Custom widget, the UMG brand button. We'll duplicate it. This one we'll call just UMG button, because it's going to be a more of a general button that we can use for many things. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to start from scratch, just because I'm realizing I didn't show you how to do the selected state. I kind of did that off camera for the vehicle buttons and the brand buttons, and so this is going to be a good opportunity to show you how it's done. So first of all, I'll just add that button 3 times. I don't think I'm actually going to need a border. So replace with child to actually remove it, because if you just hit delete, it'll delete everything that's underneath it. We'll do the same for the canvas panel here. Replace with child. So now we're left with just a button and a text box. Let's see if that, yes, that works a lot more nicely in a vertical box now. It'll scale properly, which is good. Let us set a little bit of padding. So how about 10 at the top, 2.5. Okay, those look good. Let's keep on going. Now I have a few variables here I'm not going to use. Okay. Brand name here should just be text, really. Okay, now let's come back in here, set the text. That one would be primary color. That one is going to be secondary color. This one is going to be wheel color. Now for the selected state, I will add a checkbox, well, not a checkbox, but a Boolean value. Selected, which I will make instance editable and expose on spawn. And I'll just open up the brand button to make sure I do the exact same thing so it's consistent with the others. Okay, set selected. All I gotta do is this. Oh, sorry. So now this one right here should be selected by default, because that's your primary color. And as you can see here, when you click him, all of the other buttons in the same sort of category needs to get unselected, and the one you just click needs to be selected. Now for this one it's easy because they're all brand buttons, which is their own button class, if you will. Now this one is more generic. So what I'm gonna do is actually add an array of widgets to each one of them, which will basically tell them which widgets to disable before enabling itself, basically. A brand button, I don't need you anymore. That's great. Also, I will need a custom event. So add custom event, which I'm going to call set selected. That custom event will have an input, which we're going to call selected. Oh, and it won't let me because I already have a variable called selected. How about now? Nope, still won't let me. Oh well. Guess it's a good thing that the players can't see these. So we're just going to ignore the name of the bool value. And then we will copy and paste this code here. And so now we have an event that we can call from any other buttons or any other event anywhere to tell this specific button whether it is selected or not. And so when you click the generic button, actually I'm pretty sure I want to override the click event in the menu itself. And I cannot do that, unfortunately. Can I actually do it in... Hold on a second. Oh, I probably can't override it because it's already being overwritten here in the graph. Hopefully it's just that simple. Nope. Oh, that's a shame. I kind of wish I could bind it here in this menu, because that's a generic button, so I want to be able to use it for anything really. So I guess we're not gonna do that after all, and we'll just have to do that the hard way, which is kind of unfortunate. Alright, let's go here into the designer and just copy this button. Now I'm going to overwrite the click event on all of them. I'm also going to give them names, since I kind of have to now. Okay. Now this one here, I want it to be selected by default, so I'll change its background color to the selected color. Okay, good stuff. And then I guess I'm gonna need that as well. And I can close it. Now in the graph, we are gonna have 2 of these for every button. Okay, so that is the unselected, and that is the selected. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag our 3 buttons. So whenever we click primary color, we want the primary color to be selected, and the 2 other buttons to be unselected. Oh, are you serious? I can't actually plug 2 of them in there. Oh, wow. Now for the S color, I guess we're gonna switch these 2. And for the W, okay, let's test that right away and make sure this works. Alright, I can now select one of them, and it deselects the 2 others. That's great. Now I know I'm gonna need some sort of way to let the blueprint know which one of the 3 slots I'm currently editing, and I will add an integer variable for that. So I'll call it color slot. Let's make that an integer. Okay. And now let's set it to 0, 1, and 2. Great. That's pretty much all I had to do here with the the buttons. Now, like I mentioned in the previous video, we will need a select node here. We'll use the color slot integer we just created. Now I know we have 0, 1, and 2. 0 will be this right there. Now we need 2 more variables for the other 2 paint slots. And the way we create them is to go back here into our function initialize colors and pretty much copy and paste this here. Now I know my secondary color is called paint 2. And I'm not too sure anymore about the wheels. So let me open up any of the meshes. Oh. Okay, that's better. And for the rims. Okay. Then we need to create variables for them. So much like we did for the first one, we will promote to variable. And we'll call this one dynamic material instance. What did I call the first one? Just to be consistent in the naming. Okay, this one is primary color. So secondary color. That's great. And we're also not going to copy and paste this part here, because by default when we select the vehicle we'll have the primary color selected, and so we only need to set the color picker to the primary color. Okay. Now let's go back here into the event graph and actually put those variables in here. Secondary color and wheels color. Now I know for a fact here that whenever I select one of these 3 buttons, I will need to grab the color of that specific material and apply it to the color picker, much like I do for the primary slot. And I also know that whenever I select a new vehicle, I will have to make sure that I'm also selecting the primary color button, just to make sure that my initialized color blueprint is going to be correct, pretty much. So first order of business here, let me, for this one, DMI primary, I'm actually going to move it so all 3 of them are together. And then get vector parameter value. Parameter name will be color. And then we'll use the output of that to change the color picker. And then we are going to reset the color picker. Now let's do the same thing exactly for the other two buttons. Oh boy. This one is going to be secondary color. And this one is going to be wheels color. And I just realized that name is wrong. That should be a D. Let's actually test what we've got so far. Okay, so you can tell here the secondary color is not black, but almost. And the wheel colors is pretty orangey. Oh, something is wrong here, because it's picking up the original color when I click it, but it's not changing it. I'll have to look into that. Access none, trying to read DMI secondary color. It's as if the paint 2 here wasn't found, and so that slot here is empty. Let me double check the 3D model here. Ah, that's why. So the name is very important. There you go. Okay, there you have it. Now all I have to do is to make sure when I select a different car that I'm going back to the primary color automatically. And I think we'll be done with the 3 different color slots. Oh, actually no. No, we're gonna do one more thing after that. So let's go back here into the UI folder, custom widgets, vehicle button. And whenever I am finished with all this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the main menu UMG. I'll create a new custom event, so I don't have to disable 2 buttons and enable another one, because I might decide to add more. So let's go ahead and make it a little bit modular, sort of. If I even can. Alright, you know what? There you go. Custom event. I'll call it reset color buttons. There you go. And that is exactly what I'm gonna do here. Reset color buttons. So let's test it again. Make sure it's working. So here I'm selecting the wheels. Alright, I'm back to the primary color. I have the primary color selected here in the color picker. So that's all functional. That's great. The only thing that's left to do now is not every car is going to have a secondary paint color. And so if you can't find an index for it in the initialize color, you want to collapse the button so you can see it and you can click it. So that would be the secondary color here. What we're going to do here is if this node here does not find a material slot with that name, the index it'll return will be -1. And so we'll just have an equal node here. If it's equal to -1, we'll have a branch there. So if it's not equal to -1, meaning we found something, that would be the false. So we do what we were doing before. Now, if it is true, and we don't have a secondary paint color, we are going to get here the button for the secondary color and set visibility. Now in visibility here, you have several options, and you might be tempted to set it to be hidden, but I'll show you why that doesn't work. Let's go ahead and select the Savannah again. See, that one does not have a secondary color, and setting the button to be hidden will leave a blank space in the vertical box, while setting it to collapsed will actually make it look like it was never there. Now, I suppose you could also just disable the button, leave it there, but just unable to click it. But I like to remove things from the menu when they're useless, just to make the menu easier to read through. Actually, I'm disabling it. What I really should be doing instead is scratch that entirely, the branch. And actually set the visibility no matter what, and use here a select node. Select node, let's put the output here, that equal node, and if it is true, we collapsed, and if it's false, then it's visible. And I suppose just to manage the space a little better, we could probably do that after. Yeah, let's do that after. And I suppose you could do that for all 3 slots, in case you plan on having cars that you won't be able to customize at all, for any reasons. But right now, I'm only going to do that for the secondary slot. Now, whenever the button gets collapsed, it should be coming back. There you go. Okay, so this is it. We now have a little menu here with 3 available color slots that the player can customize individually. In the next video, I will show you how to save that into the player inventory that you can then save into a save slot, either online or locally, and then how to apply that to the car when you actually hit play. So yeah, that was it for this video. Trying to keep them short from now on. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.